Right. So, I mean, this is the third video because the stupid phone ran out of battery. Like, so the thing is like, this shelter has like this a similar heating and ventilation system where it's everywhere. And last night they like dumped like the I'm next to the heating and ventilation thing because I had to move beds away from somebody. It was just nuts, and it smelled like pot, like through a plastic tarp. So they're like dumping drugs in the ventilation just because they can or they have money or they're assholes, as if to prove a point. And then and I already have like a lung condition from being around people who have like fucked up lung conditions or like have taken bad pot. There was somebody who OD'd here like a week ago or like 2 weeks ago where someone had mixed in like fertilizer with their meth, and then everyone here got sick. So I don't know if I have lung scarring. And that was right after I got an x-ray at the Chinese hospital. And all the Chinese people are going around with masks on. So I don't know if it was like, oh, he has clear lungs and he went to the Chinese hospital. I know what we're going to do. We're going to take the drugs and we're going to fuck him up. So even if he doesn't do drugs, everyone around here will be sick. So, like, I mean, just add that to the list of hospitals that are fucked up. Like, it's everyone in the city was like, what we're going to do is we're going to fuck up the hospitals. So if we don't like you, we're not going to give you medical care. And if you get a test for anything at all, we'll tell the people who are like around you or who are harassing you that you just got a test for the thing. And so this is another like way of fucking with someone. If they get a test for something and it says that they don't have any like problems with that thing, you immediately poison them. So they can't go back and ask for another test because of course all the tests are run by doctors who have like a monopoly on being a doctor. And the tests aren't publicly available and they cost money. So whenever anyone goes and gets a test, then they'll immediately turn around and tell all the gang members, hey, look, he just got a test. You should poison him again. And part of this is like, all of what I'm saying sounds so incredibly unbelievable that there's like, what you do is one of the ways that you fuck with somebody is you if you have a large enough amount of resources and he's unliked, and I'm an unlikable person, I admit it, is you do things that are so unbelievable that even if a rational person was to say it, then no one would believe him. Drugging him also helps because, like, again, I've sat on a street corner and been like, you're all fucking idiots, you're living in a shithole. Does no one else besides me see that every building here is abandoned? Anybody? And this is while I'm being surrounded by like hundreds of people that are gaslighting me. If you walk down the street and like no one is talking, like hundreds of people, and they're also fucking with the cameras. I mean, it might be just like people who show up and like walk around to like fuck with the AI camera to think that people live here when it's just like, you know. But I've said before, like the only place that you can reasonably be expected to have any privacy and then like do anything that the cameras wouldn't like is in your own home. And the homeless don't have that. So what they do is they fuck with the cameras and they see if they can get the AI to do shit for them. So it's just like, holy fuck Christ. Yeah, so this has been three videos. And I'm gonna post them all online, go vid 1, vid 2, vid 3. You know. But essentially, like, I'm so sick and I've been poisoned so much that I don't know, like, if I'm sick because I'm eating bad food, or I was poisoned, or someone, like, sat on my bed when I went out. Like, I was drinking coffee and they didn't like that, and then I left, and then my bed smells like shit. I sit on it, and then I feel sick, but then I also ate from another place, a bodega, that might not have food that's good enough. But I use the EBT card because I can't eat food at the shelter because they'll poison it. And I've been poisoned at every other breadline in the city. Right? So, like, if I leave to use my EBT card to get food, I'll have my bed smell like something that's dying, or somebody who's incredibly sick who may have just coughed all over it as I went out to get food, because I'm unwilling to eat food that's poisonous around people who do drugs that make me sick. It's like, I have no interest. So I bought like ramen. So leaving the shelter and then coming back to the same bed is dangerous, because of course there's no cameras in the shelter. And so you're relying on someone who, like, you're relying on staff members that are crooked and poisoning you. And like, somebody here had a seizure this morning and I had to call the staff members over to help him, because like he's having a seizure. I can't do anything physically myself, because if I interact with the homeless in any way that's not official, then like it'll be misinterpreted. Like that seems like bougie, but like, to give you an example, when I was kicked out of MSC South for like a nonsensical reason, I was put in the back of a van by a hot team member after someone gassed me with drugs, yelled shit outside the word shit outside the side of a car. And then I had someone like do crazy shit in the van while they took me to this place to see if I would freak out. So I had just asked for another shelter, but they're like, no, we need to send a van. And then I was drugged and fucked within a van. Like, not physically fucked, but like, someone drugged me, and then they had a city worker see if they could like give me a bad trip while I'm in the van, so they had an excuse to put me in an asylum. Then when I come here, I have to walk from the Embarcadero all the way to the hospital, which is on Van Ness. And then on the way back, they had a bunch of people like holding hands and laughing and hugging each other at 2 a.m. And then there's a black guy playing like a boombox speaker who's clearly mentally ill and like fucked up about love songs and shit. And then as I'm walking away, everybody like starts holding hands and looking depressed and shit. And a homeless guy like had like littered a bunch of Monopoly paper on the ground. So like, this black guy has a seizure. Like, immediately I'm like, I'm not interacting with that guy at all. Because first of all, he's on drugs all the time. So he's self-medicating for like some sort of like encephalitis or seizure disorder, which may be contagious. And I have a lowered immune system. But not only that, like, city workers and like a bunch of people here in San Francisco want me to get COVID around like crazy black guys with boomboxes at 2 a.m. after I've been drugged. So like, yeah, I called a staff member and then I called the emergency line. And then the cops show up and they're like, well, who helped him on the ground? I was like, a staff member. I was like, oh, a staff member. I see. Right. It's like, yeah, they're still assholes. They still poison my food. It's not like I'm going to forget that. It's like, I have to take, it's like, in order to make sure that someone I don't like, that I don't want to have anything to do with, doesn't die from their own, from either being poisoned by other people, self-medicating because they don't have resources, or is contagious. But more than that, it might involve me and someone who thinks that giving me COVID and then following me around with a boombox is a good idea. I have to call staff members that have decided that it's cool to poison my food. And to the extent that that happens, when I come back to the shelter after getting food, so I'm not poisoned at the shelter, I have somebody like sit on my bed or do something to the bed so it smells like shit, and then I have headaches and feel bad all the time. So it's just like, everybody in San Francisco is like fucking psychopath. Like, no matter how unpopular someone is, there's like, unless there's like a mass, like, It's just, I just, like, I can't. The other option was just to let the guy die. So, you know, like, I don't know if the seizure was intentional. Like, people are that crazy. They're like, well, let's just get a guy to seize up on bad drugs and see what Peter does. You're thinking, that's incredibly egotistical. It's like, yeah, well, I don't know how you can have this many people fuck with a guy. Unless, for some reason, I mean, I deal with myself every day. I don't particularly like me one way or the other. But, like, it's just, I don't know. Anyway, this has been 3 videos worth of videos, so I'm gonna post them online. If I ever end up like being important in any way whatsoever, at least I'm not gonna be president or like be important enough to be like Elon Musk in front of a crowd so everyone can think I'm an idiot. But it's just like the amount of effort that's going into like making my life miserable just seems like incredibly over the top. Just like, man, there's a bunch of like, I don't know.